Hey guys, this is Margaret Catherine, aka Meg, and this video is about lazy ways to become a more productive writer. I'm the author of 3 traditionally published books, and my writing has been published in over 65 publications. I've written for literary magazines, mainstream publications, and comedy sites. I've also worked as an editor and taught writing at colleges. Number 1 is read books that make you want to write. If a book isn't making you want to write, start reading another book. It's really about what excites you. That goes for anything that you consume: TV, movies, podcasts, videos, music, even different scents, like different perfumes will make me feel different ways. I've noticed that the scent of lavender just makes me want to lie down. Sometimes when I'm really anxious it will calm me down and it's helpful, but most of the time it really doesn't do anything for me as a writer, even though I love the smell. I've also noticed that videos of cakes being decorated don't really do anything for me as a writer. They just make me want to decorate cakes and eat cakes. So sometimes I have to be like, move along. Number 2 is to make a list of things you want to check out in the future. This goes for anything we talked about in tip number 1. I think especially with TV and movies, you want to write down what you want to watch later to save it, but you don't want to get sucked in and lose track of time. I really recommend just writing down what you're interested in and not signing in. I know that you can go on streaming services and save things you want to watch later, but once you're signed in, they've got you. Planning what you want to watch in the future feels more fun than just not watching it. You don't want to feel like you're being punished for being productive. So an example of this is that I really wanted to watch RuPaul's Drag Race from the time the show started, but I didn't watch it until 2016. When it started, I was still busy dancing, and then I went to an MFA program. So I went to a 3-year MFA program, and the first year I don't really remember how I figured things out. I was still adjusting to being in the area. The second 2 years were when I really was in a routine. There was one show I watched. So I watched an episode of TV once a week. So I would get it from a streaming service, so it'd be like 45 minutes with no commercials. And so I would watch that, and I didn't really watch a lot of movies, even though I wanted to. I would, watch a movie occasionally, but I had to kind of control my time. So my 3rd semester in the program is when my first book was accepted for publication. So I had to start writing a new manuscript for my thesis, and my thesis was an earlier version of what became my 2nd book. So I had a show I watched every week, and then I would let myself see clips of RuPaul's Drag Race, but I knew once I started watching it, I would be really into it. So I was just like, I'm not gonna let myself go there. People would be like, Meg, you don't watch Drag Race? Seems like you'd love it. And I would be like, oh, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the hell out of it. So I've always loved drag, and I know everyone says that now, but before RuPaul's Drag Race existed, I really loved drag. The first time I saw a drag show was in between my sophomore and junior year of high school. Some college friends that I danced with took me to a bar to see a drag show, and I remember the queens were dancing on a runway, and they were wearing these gold outfits, not like tacky gold fabric, like nice gold fabric. And I remember that they were really elegant and raunchy at the same time. So it was very educational for me at that time in my life. And one of the years I lived in Chicago, I lived in Lakeview, in between the Belmont and Addison stops on the Red Line. So I was surrounded by drag queens, loved it. So I finished my MFA years, and then I had been out of an MFA program for about a year and a half, And that's when I had a life-threatening illness. I was actually hospitalized. And the recovery process was really long. At that point, I had 2 books out and I had started working on my 3rd book. But like I said, the recovery process was long and hard. So at that point, I finally watched Drag Race. And at that point, I was really glad that I saved it because I needed it more. It probably sounds sort of severe to say I could have died and then I finally let myself watch RuPaul's Drag Race, but it was a good thing. It was good that I watched it at that time. So I definitely recommend saving some things for later to get the things done that you need to. And also, you never know when you're saving something to watch later or read later or listen to later, you never know when you'll really need it. And I definitely needed to watch Drag Race more after a life-threatening illness than at any other time. Tip number 3 is to spend time by yourself. You want to get away from everyone sometimes so that your own writing voice can come through. Tip number 4 is to spend time with people and around people to listen to how they speak to each other. You want to find your ideal balance between tip number 3 and tip number 4. Number 5 is write small amounts at a time. This should help keep your anxiety in check. In Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, she refers to this as small assignments. Tip number 6 is think about your physical body as a writer. Maybe you need to put on reading glasses, maybe you need to eat a snack first, maybe you need to layer up with a sweater because it's cold. Your physical comfort does matter as a writer. Number 7 is about location. Think about where you like to write and think about where you don't like to write. Try to be in the environment you like to write in as much as possible. Number 8 is treat yourself the way you would treat a friend. Be someone you would want to hang out with. Every now and then, you'll have extremely negative thoughts as an artist. Don't let your thoughts be like someone you're always trying to avoid. So you want to be at least neutral with your thinking. A good friend would be neutral even if they were having a bad day. They would probably be like, get some sleep and then see how you feel. Number 9 is always be able to write things down. So you want to try to have your phone with you or your laptop or a piece of paper and a pen, something at all times because writing tends to come out at inconvenient times. Sometimes a piece will come from just jotting down one word. As much as possible, always have one of the 3 with you so you can jot down all your ideas. Number 10. Remember that being artistically driven is a gift. Not everyone has this gift, and not everyone understands this gift. Only let people in your life who are fully supportive of your creative goals. I hope these tips were helpful. I'll see you soon.